Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of, sorry, wrong camera. Or this is for October of 2025. You have this Rhino spirit says overcome any obstacle. You have this Wombat spirit says be at home. So a lot of you, especially Earth signs right now could be doing things to, eliminate any obstacles or charge through them in the first place. I'm not saying that there are even any obstacles. Your first row looks pretty good here, so it might not even be that big of a deal for you. Any of the obstacles that you're overcoming, and so that's a good thing. It's definitely a good time for you to work on yourself because we had that eclipse in your sign, and so this is going to continue for at least 6 months. And I would anything you can do to work on yourself would be excellent, and I would focus on that. In your first row for your current general energies, you have the King of Pentacles, the World, and the Eight of Swords. It seems to be a pretty good month for money. I'm not saying that money is perfect this month, but what I am saying is for the people that put in the work to make more, they probably will. So the King of Pentacles is the card of wealth. He also has these grapes on his cloak, and the grapes in the tarot represent, using your skills. So he specifically makes money with a skill, and it usually represents a skill that is difficult for most people that you can do well. We all have something that makes us special, and if your mom never told you that you are special, I'll tell you right now, Virgo, you are special. So there you go. But any skill that you have that is difficult for others is what I would be using with the King of Pentacles, because usually that's where we find the most success. You also have the Queen of Pentacles here, so divine counterparts. There's a little bit of love here in this reading if you want it. You could be attracting another Earth sign, could be a Taurus, could be a Capricorn, could be any sign. It's a general reading, right? But you definitely could be attracting a new person if you don't already have one, and it looks good. You have the World, and the World can be an accomplishment or an achievement. I really feel like follow through for you. I think I said this to you recently as well, Virgo, but it's like, don't celebrate too soon is like what I feel here for you. And again, I'm pretty sure it was you that I said this to recently, but it's like, if you've ever seen, it's funny because, I think I said this to you recently. My assistant sent me a reel that she was recommended because, I said this in the reading, right? And it was a video of a guy who was like doing a bicycle race, and he threw his hands up before he hit the finish line. His bike goes down. Someone else wins the race, right? And it's kind of like, that's the energy I get here, where it's like saying, whatever you're accomplishing right now, keep the momentum going. Have the, go past the finish line, and don't stop the momentum, And I really feel that energy here because, it'll just probably keep whatever you're doing going into the future. I think it's saying once you have one success, do it again, have it again, because it'll just, build a lot of momentum in your life. I also feel some of you, there's a lot of good adventure cards here, and, we are in a time of adventure. I think it's pretty obvious to me that everybody should be going on adventures right now. These could be adventures from the comfort of your own home as well. You could just be learning a new topic, starting a new hobby. Those are adventures, and I definitely encourage people to do it. You have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, I definitely feel this is going to be a theme for all the readings this month for whatever reason. It's like, I wish I realized this when I started this morning because I could have told the other people that I've already read for what I want to say. But it's almost like there could be a moment, at the beginning of the month where it feels like you're not getting anywhere, or it feels like you have to push through something. And what I want to say to everyone in the collective is that, yes, push through whatever the barrier is that you might feel is in your way or whatever's going on. I'll give you a good example here. It's like I have major ADHD, and it's like if I'm not super excited about something that I'm working on, I just can't, right? But also I have a hard time just getting started in general on things. It's like once I start something, I'm good, right? And again, even like lately, I've been working on like 3 projects at once, which is probably a bad idea, but I do it anyway. And it's like, but for a couple days, the past couple weeks, I've kind of just been sitting here doing nothing, just like staring at my screen, being just overthinking the starting part. But it's like once I just pushed through it, which I did, it took me till yesterday to push through it. It's like once I did, I was like off to the races. Speaking of races here, and I got a ton of stuff done. So that's like what I feel for October. Like I feel like people might have a hard time getting started, but it's like if you just would do something small, it would be enough to kind of get you going. And, I know that's not good advice necessarily, but I don't know, maybe it helps. Maybe it'll help some of you just get started, right? With the King of Pentacles, you have the Page of Wands here, and you do have the Knight of Wands as well. Again, these are great cards for adventure. There is also something about enthusiasm this month, and kind of like, this kind of came up in September, but, it's also really coming up in October for you, that you should, practice just non-attachment to outcome. The Page of Wands is a very happy-go-lucky energy. You also have the Six of Cups here. Sorry, I meant the Page of Wands, but the Page of Wands and the Six of Cups are both very kind of like happy-go-lucky. They're not really doing something to get a result. They're just like more excited by the adventure, more excited by what, the possibilities, right? And I feel embracing that energy would be a good idea. It's kind of funny because, the problem with the King of Pentacles would be knowing too much, right? He has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, like all kings have. And it's like sometimes I think that if we want to start something new in life, if we know too much, then we take it too seriously, right? And I feel like this is saying, it's like, yeah, maybe you do know too much about what you're working on or going to be working on this month, but you should also like be more playful with it. With the World, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, this is pretty funny too. I think that, especially you, Virgo, it's like you could be seeing people do things a certain way, like especially in work or business, and you might be thinking, they can't do that. That's not the right way to do that. But I also feel it's kind of like the world is trying to show you that there are other ways of doing things, right? That's sometimes how I feel with the Seven of Swords, is that we could be seeing an example. We could be seeing someone do something in business, and we could be like, oh, that person's cheating. But it's like, who said they're cheating? Right? It's like, who came up with those rules? Or it's like, are they really? Or did they just find a more efficient way of doing what you do? And that question is popping into my head for you, Virgo, where it's like you could be seeing people do things in more efficient ways. And I feel the universe is like, why aren't you doing it this way? It's like you might think it's lazy. It's kind of like how I feel about AI. I'm very much on the fence with AI. I feel that there's probably a 50% chance we're all screwed, right? We're dead, basically. That it's just going to wipe us out. So I'm like 50%. But I definitely see the positives that could come from it. But it's like I see this a lot with social media, where it's like people create their posts with AI, and people are like, oh, you're creating this with AI. And it's like, yeah, but they still have 1 million subscribers and you don't. So, you know what I mean? It's like, who's right here? I don't know. And I can't really answer that question. But, I kind of get that feeling here with the Seven of Swords, where it's like saying, who's really to say what's right or wrong? And it's like, is someone showing you something that's more efficient? And again, I can't answer that question for you. With the Eight of Swords, you have the King of Cups here. Yeah, really needing to tap into your emotions. I do feel, especially you are going to be feeling that whole North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. Plus, in Pisces, we're going to have Neptune's going to move into Pisces in the middle of October. Saturn is already retrograding there right now. And so, you're emotional. You could be feeling things. You could be feeling the world, right? With the World card here, you could be feeling things emotionally on a deeper level. The secret with the King of Cups is to not drown in your emotions. It says it's okay to feel emotional about things, of course, but it also says you also have to live your life. You also have to make sure that you're not worrying about things that you can't control. And so I would make sure you're not drowning in your emotions. You also have the King and Queen of Cups here. So again, divine counterparts. I feel like it's the same person basically, but it's just saying, King and Queen of Pentacles can be a little bit boring for divine counterparts because they're kind of missing desire. And so having these two here says it's not just a stable connection, that's boring. There's like more emotion in this. So that's good. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Trust Yourself card. It says intuition, decisiveness, and knowing. You have this Animals card. It says instinct, emotion, wisdom, and guides. Yes. You might be seeing animals that you should be looking up the meanings for or paying attention to. So I would definitely do that. We are in a time where we have to trust ourselves. I mean, that's the whole point of Neptune and Aries. I mean, duh. As far as I'm concerned, Neptune, yeah, it's going to retrograde into Pisces. Doesn't matter. It's been in Aries already. Neptune and Aries, it's like looking for a savior. According to Chris's crappy astrology here, we could be looking for someone who has the answers. Neptune and Aries wants us to realize we have our own answers, that are probably right. And so Neptune and Aries kind of wants us to save ourselves, right? And even speaking of AI, right? Neptune and Aries wants people to realize that they have their own spiritual AI that they can tap into that might be more powerful. So it's kind of like saying, don't forget spirit, right? You have the Temperance card, the Six of Cups, and the Moon. Temperance can be patience. I feel like you're done being patient, quite honestly, here, Virgo. I feel that. You right next to it, you have the Knight of Wands. He's like ready to go. He's ready to blast off, right? And so I feel like you're kind of like done being patient with something. But I feel kind of good about that. Like, so, yeah, sure. Sometimes I think, we can get impatient and we make a mistake. That's not what I feel here. I do feel like some of you might get a little bit impatient this month at a certain point, and it's probably going to be a good thing. It's like, yeah, there might be a little messiness, but, South Node in Virgo really encourages you to be messy. It wants you to make mistakes. It wants you to not be perfect, right? And so, I feel pretty good about this. I kind of feel like this is almost something that you're just going to do this month at some point. It might be the beginning, might be the end of the month. It doesn't really matter. But I feel that you're going to get like a little bit messy in a good way. You have the Six of Cups. Again, that childlike energy. If I could just get everybody to do this, I think things would go a lot better for people. Six of Cups, is childlike energy. It's a card of innocence and nostalgia. I don't really read it as a person coming back from the past. And as a matter of fact, again, I'm a holistic reader. I look at everything that's going on here, and there's really nothing here that would say an ex is coming back. I feel more childlike energy here. One thing I will say is that sometimes we are trying to protect something too much with the Six of Cups. We have this guard right here. They're surrounded by these castle walls, and even the girl here has like this oven mitt on her hands. Sometimes with the Six of Cups, I feel like we can be handling something too carefully. It's like we're too afraid of being like a bull in a china shop, like a Taurus, right? You have the King of Pentacles, Taurus energy here. I don't want to go on a rant here. Technically, Taurus is not a bull in a china shop. Technically, they're a bull stuck in a bullpen, but whatever. So, but I almost feel like it would be good for you to be a little bit like a bull in a china shop. And, it would be good for you to be, kind of, like I said, messy in a certain way. I think it would be good for you to, do things that maybe are a little bit out of character. And we're not talking about you becoming a fake person or anything like that, but it's like maybe you're the type of person where it's like maybe if you were going to start a business, you would only, give it 10% of your energy. It's like bull in a china shop would be 20%. It's like maybe you're just doing a little bit more. Same thing in a relationship. It's like maybe in a relationship in the beginning you would be careful of your words. It's like maybe instead you're getting into a relationship where you're just like, what, I'm just going to say the things I say, and if they don't like it, F them, right? That type of attitude is what we're talking about here, Virgo. And I feel it would serve you very well. I mean, we should be like that anyway in relationships. So like if you're not saying who you are up front, then you're basically, that person is dating not you. They're dating someone else, right? So again, we probably should be like that anyway. You have the Moon. A lot of Moon energy this month for whatever reason. I think that it could be a little bit of a mysterious month. I would encourage you to explore mysteries with the Moon. The Moon is part of the Fool's journey. He has to get from here to here. The Fool also has to be vulnerable. We have this lobster here, and the lobster is in the water. Lobsters don't do very well on land, and they are wearing armor, right? So the Moon itself can represent needing to be more vulnerable or needing to be willing to be vulnerable to make something happen in your life. And it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's kind of like we really don't have any other choice. So I kind of feel this is encouraging you to let go of the fear of vulnerability or to be more vulnerable. This could even be in a connection or whatever. With the Temperance card, yes, you have the King of Wands, being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. Like I said, I think you're done being patient. The King of Wands, he isn't necessarily impatient, but he isn't necessarily patient either. He is a visionary. He has these visionary ideas for his life. I think you have big ideas for your life right now, Virgo. I do feel that some of you could be feeling a new inspiration this month as well. Like if you haven't been feeling inspired, that Neptune and Pisces, one last chance for all of us to dream the impossible dream, to make it happen. And so I would follow your inspirations. Sure, we'll take both. Well, here you go. Didn't I say Page of Cups like 2 minutes ago? With the Six of Cups, you have the Page of Cups and the Five of Wands. Sure. So there definitely could be love coming in for you or an admirer. I feel for some of you, you could be interested in a person there's competition for, but, it's like, I think this person would be interested in you, so I would go for it. It's like sometimes I think we stop ourselves. There is such a thing as attractive person syndrome. A lot of times there are very attractive people who are so attractive that they don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend because they're too attractive, because everybody thinks they must be taken, right? So I don't know, maybe you're attracted to a person like that. And, again, I would go for it. With the moon, you have the Ace of Swords, your truth, right? This is your internal truth, that especially with the moon. The moon is about going on a journey, but it's your own journey. It's the fool's journey. It's part of his journey. He has to get to those mountains in the background of the moon. The sword is above the mountains on the Ace of Swords. It represents easily overcoming obstacles or, accomplishing something. And so I feel a lot of you, it's like if you are going to go on a journey, you might surprise yourself with how quickly you're able to accomplish something this month. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this strength and beauty card. You have this Roadrunner, trust and knowledge. So I feel that you've developed a lot of strength and beauty. There you go. Maybe you have attractive person syndrome. You probably do. You're watching Minnow Pontero, so only the smartest, most attractive people watch this channel. It's proven. NASA actually proved that. Not really, but they did. And so there you go. But here, Roadrunner, knowledge and wisdom. Definitely think you need to use it. You have the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Eight of Cups. The Knight of Wands is about being spontaneous, which, again, you have been getting for months with me now. So I feel it is definitely time for those spontaneous moves that you could be making in your life, or, just throwing things out there. I think it would be a good time for you to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks in work, business, love, health, everything, and just experience life. That's what the reading is kind of encouraging you to do, I feel. And if you do that, I think you will be happy with what you discover here with the Knight of Wands. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, it does seem to be an interesting month for money. It's like I think there are good money-making opportunities, but these money-making opportunities require focus, right? So I think even though I just said it would be a good time for you to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, I feel that you should do that with a structure, as in maybe you say to yourself, something pick a specific goal. I want to make $100 more a day with my business, and then pick 3 things you're going to try to make that happen. So you say, I'm going to try these 3 things, and then when something works, double down on it, right? So again, the Queen of Pentacles wants practical energy, but the Knight of Wands is the opposite. He's impractical, he's spontaneous, all those other things, right? So I think that it's almost like you need to have a box to work in, but that box needs to be flexible enough for creativity. I hope that makes sense. It needs to be, it needs to allow for a certain amount of experimentation. I think, like I said, doing something like picking 3 things and trying them and then doubling down on the thing that works would probably be best with the Queen of Pentacles. So the goal has to be specific, though, the thing that you're accomplishing, right? And I would pick one thing to improve and improve it, plain and simple. You have the Eight of Cups. This year is a shedding year. We're in the year of the snake in Chinese astrology. I think everybody is cutting things out this year. I talked about it at the beginning of the year. So, it's a great time to remove things that no longer serve you. If there are things you want to walk away from, it's a great time for that as well. So, that's it. I really don't have anything to add to that Eight of Cups. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Magician. You get the Magician with me a lot, Virgo, and I'm always saying the Magician is about reinvention. And I think I've said to you a million times over the past couple of years that it would be an amazing time for Virgo to choose who they want to be and just step into that energy, right? And I think you really have. And, he's pointing to the Queen of Cups, which is about following your heart. It's your heart knows probably who you want to be. And this would just be about stepping into the energy, making it happen. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, we are all experiencing work changes right now. We had Pluto in Capricorn, end of last year, moved into Aquarius. And Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius removes establishment. And it's so anything that you've been doing for a long time, you could notice that it's not working like it used to, especially financially. And yeah, this is a little bit scary. Like I always say, I don't want to sugarcoat that energy because there is a little bit of fear that goes along with it. But at the same time, I think we all have an amazing opportunity to come up with better ways of making money, doing, better ways of doing things just in general. And so that's what I would focus on. The Ten of Swords is a blessing in disguise. He's making the same symbol the Hierophant is making right here, and it represents a blessing. So, again, there's really nothing to fear is what I'm trying to say. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Strength card. Yeah, you have that card. It says Strength and Beauty. this is a card of patience, but it's a card that says you have developed the strength necessary to be very successful. The strength card is also about working on how you talk to yourself. She's taming her inner voice, which I think would also be very good for you right now, Virgo, to work on like how you talk to yourself. You can't make this up. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this card that says courage on it. I basically said that with the Temperance card and the King of Wands. You have this card that says watch for signs. Can't make this up either because this card has butterflies on it. I'm going to stop calling you Virgo. I'm going to start calling you Butterfly because every reading I've done for you for the past like 4 years, you get a butterfly. You're the only sign that pretty much gets these butterflies in their reading. So you've definitely been going through deep transformation for a long time, but I would pay attention to the signs. You have the Queen of Cups, the Devil, and the Four of Wands. Again, Queen of Cups is about following your heart, listening to your intuition. She really values what her heart is telling her to do. This cup right here. So I feel that you need to listen to your heart at this time with the Queen of Cups and, just basically follow what your heart is telling you to do. You have the Devil. This is like a long-term thing for you, Virgo. I feel that you have been dealing with something toxic, but it's almost like you're getting to the bottom of something in your life that has been like a pebble in your shoe type of energy is what I feel here. I don't know, kind of interesting. It feels, sometimes I get a card in a reading that I feel is very different from the reading, if that makes sense, where like I almost feel like it's just like a side message or something. And that's kind of how I feel about the Devil. It feels good because it's like obviously you're taking your shoe off and you're getting the pebble out, but I feel like you are finally discovering what the pebble is, if that makes sense. It is interesting that we have Pluto retrograde right now. It will be going direct in the middle of the month. And so, Pluto retrograde is about getting to the bottom of things. And it definitely feels to me like you're getting to the bottom of something that has been a problem. You have the Four Wands. Four Wands can be marriage. If you're attracting love, you could be, attracting a very solid commitment here. The Four Wands is really a card of freedom. You have to cross through this threshold to set yourself free on the Four Wands. And a lot of you could be gaining in freedom or creating a lot more freedom in your life. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It's a card of knowing that you know that something is for you. So when you know that something is for you, then it's for you, right? And so it's about like that having the deep belief that you can do something or that you can make something happen. The good news is it's coming up in the good stuff, so I feel like you're believing in yourself more. With the Devil, here we go. This is the card I really wanted to see in this reading, is the Fool. We pretty much talked about the Fool in this reading, and you have the World. In the Major Arcana, we go from the Fool to the World, and we start all over again as the Fool. So definitely starting a new cycle, because, again, we basically start here with the World and with the Fool, and it's like you're taking a whole new leap of faith. With the Four Wands, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, pretty good. I would say you're coming out of the cold. So for those of you that are looking for love or are wanting a love connection, you could be attracting a person that kind of pulls you out of the cold or that feels really good. So love it. You have this Tiger. It says doing something risky, taking a chance. I think this is the energy you need to embrace. Like I said, it's almost like bull in a china shop, tiger attacking things energy. People might have something to say about it. It's like, anytime you make a change, it's like people are going to have something to say about it. And so, but I would make those changes. I think that those types of changes are going to make the biggest impact in your life. You have this marriage card. Yeah, if you are attracting a person or if you already have a person, it could be the person you commit to. I'm not saying you have to necessarily marry a person, but you could be just making a deeper commitment or meeting a person that you could see yourself getting married to in the future, which is good. You have the Staff card. It says you will be taken care of in difficult times. I talk about this a lot, that I think that by the time you get to like 2033, that a lot of people are going to look back to 2023, basically the past decade of their life, and they're going to say like, wow, all I did was worry. I didn't do anything. And so there's like a lot of worry. There's a lot of things to worry about. And, I'm not saying that we can't care about anything that's going on in the world, but what I am saying is like, what can you do? And that's what I would focus on. I feel the people that focus on doing something are going to have nothing to worry about, basically. You have this Vulture. It says depression, anxiety, worry that someone is against you. Yeah, I'm actually going to pull you an extra card because you also have this Turkey. It says someone is behaving stupidly. we had Mars go retrograde last year into this year. We had Mercury go retrograde in Leo, almost at exactly the same place. So that Mercury retrograde could have called back that Mars retrograde energy. And Mars retrograde is notorious for making us worry, making us concerned about what people are doing, things like that. But the thing with Mars retrograde is either we shouldn't worry about it or it's not true. You have this Fox card that says shrewdness and resourcefulness, especially in business. Yes, Seven of Swords. This card, Fox energy in general, like if the Seven of Swords was an animal, it would be a fox. It's like needing to be tactical, needing to kind of slink around and... excuse me. I sneezed at the beginning of Pisces reading, and now I sneeze at the end of your reading here, Virgo. So a nice way to end the readings. But, what I would say is I think you need to be more tactical. This looks pretty good, Virgo. I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.